Hi, and welcome to our video explaining the fundamentals of using Screaming Frog for crawling your website and analyzing it for your SEO audit. Today we'll cover what you need to pay attention to the most when you first launch Screaming Frog and what tools you can use to perform the most basic tasks in the program. What you need to do first is of course to crawl your website. One of the first things that you'll see once your website has started crawling is the indexability of a given URL. Meaning whether a certain URL is indexed or not. This is one of, if not the most important elements you'll have to pay attention to, because this status can provide you the following information. So what this can tell you is whether this URL is in the search results. If it's non-indexed, there's a very high chance that you won't find it in your search results. And if, say, you want to promote this page further, you'll have to find a way to change the status of this URL through various means that we'll cover in later videos. Keep in mind though that this status is not a definite confirmation of the URL being indexed or not. Ultimately, only a search engine, in our case probably Google, can decide whether to index a page or not. The reasons for the non-indexability of the URL can be various errors, such as client errors, server errors like the 404 error. The pages can also be blocked by the robots.txt file or canonicalized. In this video, we'll show how to use the Screaming Frog's functionality to your advantage and find and export URLs with particular types of such common errors for further analysis. Let's say you need to find all the pages with the 404 error code in it. To do this, you'll need to go to the Response Codes tab and use the filter to filter out only the pages with a certain response code. Another way of accessing it is using the window pane to the right. It also contains the same info but presented in a slightly different way to provide you with more navigation options. For some additional information, for example, you can use the InLinks tab to see what URL actually leads to the broken link. Finally, to export the pages with a 404 error, you might want to use the bulk export option. This option is very useful when you have a lot of such pages that you need to promptly export. The same procedure can be done with low content pages, 301 redirect status codes, pages blocked by robots.txt, and so on. Another thing that can be said about the bulk export option is that in the beginning of your acquaintance with Screaming Frog, you will probably have to use it for exporting meta tags, since they are way more likely to be missing or have duplicates. For instance, we may not find many title and description duplicates here, but let's look at the image-related old tag or old attribute. As you can see, the attribute is either missing completely or missing text. Since this attribute affects page ranking to some extent, this is not to be ignored, so they probably need to be exported and rewritten. So, this is how you use Screaming Frog to perform the most basic fundamental operations after crawling your site.